Pregame.com.
Kansas City, 2.5-point dog at the Indianapolis Colts. This one's my best bet. Line dropped down to 2.5. Actually did a little dance. Opened at 2, was as high as 3 at some spots. Sharps grabbed the 3 on KC. Now it's pretty much 2.5 across the board. I'm going to hope for 3, and I'm one of those guys that's willing to pay a little big to buy it, especially if I'm going to take a big position. But I think enough money is going to come in on the Colts come Sunday when the betting public finally speaks, and I'm going to get 3 anyway. May have to lay 120 to get it, but I think you're going to get 3 at least some of the square shops, because Indianapolis is going to get a ton of money against the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming off back-to-back primetime games where they looked really good. I mean, they almost beat Pittsburgh, but covered the number. Could have very easily won the game in Tampa Bay, covered the number, and now all of a sudden they return back home. I think they're due for a huge letdown. I wasn't surprised they did well in Tampa because it was another primetime game. If that game was on a Sunday, I would have thought there was value on the Tampa side. But Indy wasn't going to quit after showing up against Pittsburgh. That was a Sunday night football game. They looked great, but they didn't win. Some would think they may be in for a letdown, but you're not going to let down with a Monday night football game on prime time. So they're going to give it their all once again, but they fell short. Because of that, this is the letdown spot for them. More importantly, this is the lowest adjustment we've seen all season for the Peyton Manning injury. I'm going to take you back 1 year ago. Before anyone knew Kansas City was going to have a successful year last year, October 10th, in Indianapolis, the Colts were only 7.5-point favorites against Kansas City. And no one knew at that point Kansas City was going to go off and win the AFC West. I know I didn't. And yet, with Peyton Manning, they were only 7.5-point favorites. They won that game by 10. Now, all of a sudden, we're seeing them as 2.5-point favorites. It's about a 5-point adjustment when we've learned the difference between Peyton and next is closer to 11. More importantly, we've seen throughout the season huge adjustments made from what the Cantor offered, what the Hilton offered before the season started on Colts games. We've seen adjustments of 10-plus points made. This one, not so much. Prior to the season, Colts were only 5.5 for this game. So we're looking at a 3-point adjustment from before the season started. I really think it's screaming of value on Kansas City. In fact, I'll go on record saying the wrong team's favored in this game.
I'm not sure the wrong team favored, but I really don't think you're going to see a 3 in this game. The Colts.
Not even a Bodog?
Bodog doesn't count. And I say that in true love for Bodog.
Yeah, of course. But everyone needs them.
But it's a situation where Indy plays Pittsburgh, and I tweeted about this at B. Leonard Sports earlier, that Pittsburgh the week prior was a big favorite. They cover the spread, and then they go into that game as a big favorite, and teams tend to have a letdown in that situation. And then last week with Tampa look at it, they go, we've got Monday Night Football, we're going to look great against one of the worst teams in football, and they may have overlooked them a little bit too. I don't think Kansas City is going to overlook them at all. And I've been pretty impressed by the Kansas City defenses of late. They played Minnesota and San Diego, only allowed a combined 37 points the last 2 weeks. So, they had the injury to bury before the season started, but I thought the defense is actually playing very well as of late. I
agree. It's been a tale of 2 different teams. Week 1 and 2, they were -7 in turnovers. They got outscored by 79 points. Week 3 and 4, +2 in turnovers. They all lost by only 3 to San Diego and got their first taste of victory just last week against Minnesota. I think that taste of victory really felt good for this team. And now they're going up against a team that they have to feel able to beat. They're not going up against New England where they're like, now we're going to go to 1 and 4. This is a team that they could get a win, get healthy with. More importantly, look at that divisional standings. They're 1 game behind second place. They're 2 games behind first place. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, or I'm not saying go out and bet them to win the Super Bowl like that guy did that made the paper, but this season ain't over for them yet, realistically. They still have things to play for. I mean, it's so, early in the season. More importantly, and finally, Kansas City has a bye on deck. What better way to head into that bye than getting another win, and after starting so horribly, going in 2-3, which wouldn't be too bad. If you asked them after week 2, would they settle for 2-3 going into the bye? They'd say absolutely. Here's their chance to do it. Short week of preparation for Indy. I love KC.
I like your side, but I don't think you're going to get the 3. The way I'm going to play it, I'm going to tease this. I'm going to take Kansas City 6-point, 2-team teaser, minus 110. I'll take them all the way up to 8.5. I'll do the same with the Bengals, which is very similar. And what makes this teaser so strong is they're both in low-scoring games. So you got less variance when you have low-scoring outcomes. So the winner of this game may score 20 points. It's totally different when you have a New England game where the winner of the game where the winner of the game may score 40. So you have a lot more variance when you have high total games. So we've got 2 games where I'm getting over the key numbers of 3, 4, 6, and 7 in a low-scoring game where literally the winner of these games will probably score 20 points.
You going to tell me who you're tying it in with?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, both roughly the same number. I'll take them up to 8.5, 6-point, 2-team teaser, minus 110. I think that's the way you play these games.
And are you betting the teams or the number?
I'm betting the teams and the number because they're teams that are not going to give up a lot of points. I've been really impressed by the Cincinnati defense. We already talked about Kansas City's defense looking a little bit better. So you're getting low-scoring games. You're getting teams in competitive games where they don't want to turn the ball over. They're not going to be throwing downfield 80 yards to try to complete these passes.
And the icing on the cake through the key numbers.
Through the key numbers. This is a great way to play these games.
You just got Brian's top total, my best bet of the week, trying to get the 3-1 on best bets on videos. Don't forget to follow me at Vegas Runner on Twitter. Plenty of information passed out each and every day. Market report and analysis. And you can get the blogs and posts at pregame.com.